Hey guys, welcome back to LEARNAKAN. So let's start with the first to be verb form that there is in Twi, and this is by far the most commonly used one, and that is ye. Ye. Now, please pay attention to how I pronounce this. I say ye. Ye. Not ye. Okay, so the tone is on the lower side. Ye. Ye. Not ye. If you bring the tone up, you might be saying something completely different. And this is the case with all the to be verb forms that we are going to be looking at. This very to be verb form, there is an instance where we say it with a much higher tone, but we are going to get into that much later. For now, just know that generally, for all the to be verb forms that we have, we say them pretty much with a lower tone on each of them, all right? Now, for this to be verb form, I call this the descriptive to be verb form. And I call this descriptive because we typically use this to describe stuff, okay? So we use this to describe people or things or entities in general, all right? So, for example, we will use this to describe a person's character, all right? Or a person's profession, okay? Or a person's nationality, a person's tribe, all right, or the general outlook of something, all right. So this to be verb form is what we use to do that. Now, this goes to say that the forms of the to be verb as we have them in Twi toe on functional lines, okay. So in English, you have different forms of the to be verb based off on tense, aspect, and number, okay. So that, for example, the number of subjects that the to be verb is to go with will determine the form of the to be verb that you go with, right? In our introduction, I told you that this is not the case in Twi. So for us, whether the subject is one or two or more, we still use the same to be verb form. But for us, we arrive at the different forms of the to be verb based off on the function that it's supposed to perform, right? So in this case, for example, I'm saying that this to be verb form, we typically use it to describe people, to describe stuff, all right? So, for example, the nationality, the tribe, the profession, the character, the general outlook of something or someone. Let's get into some examples so you know exactly how we use this particular to be verb form. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give about 2 examples under each of the descriptive fields that I gave. So under nationality, I'll give about 2. Under tribe, I'll give about 2. Under profession, 2, and on, all right? Let's start with nationality. So I can say mekyea, Ghanani. Mekyea, Ghanani. Mekyea, Ghanani. So you see what is happening here? The to be verb form ye translates to English here as am, okay, which is a to be verb form in English. Mind you, this same ye will translate as maybe is or are in another example, but for this case, it translates as am, right, which is a to be verb form in English. Now, something that you should take notes here is the ye is a verb, right? So if you are going to use it with a subject pronoun like I'm doing here, so we have me, which is I, then you have to combine it with the verb in writing, okay? I mentioned that when we looked at subject pronouns. If you missed that, please, I'll leave a link up here for you to go check it out. So basically, if you are going to use a verb with a subject pronoun in such a way that the verb comes right after the subject pronoun, then you need to combine the two into a single unit in writing. Again, I'll leave a link up here for you to go check it out, okay? So that is why we have mekyea together as one. But then if I'm not going to use a pronoun, so let's say I'm going to use a name instead, a proper name, then obviously I'm not going to combine that with a verb, okay? So I'll split that. So for our second example, we have Kwame ye, American-y. Kwame ye, American-y. So you see that I split it, right? So we have Kwame ye, American-y. So whichever country that you are from, if you want to tell your nationality, just replace, the name America or the name Ghana with the name of your country, and be sure to attach the suffix ni to it. Okay, so if you are from Togo, you say mekyea Togo ni. Okay, if you are from Kenya, you say mekyea Kenya ni. Now let's see some examples under tribe, and this follows the same structure as that of nationality. So for example, if I want to say I'm a Bono, I'll say mekyea Bononi, mekyea Bononi, mekyea Bononi. So as you can see, I'm combining the subject pronoun with the verb, right? Because we are dealing with a subject pronoun here, followed directly by a verb. But if I'm to use a proper name, then I'll split it. Obviously, I will not combine it with the verb. So I'll say, for example, Kwame ye Asante ni. Kwame ye Asante ni. All right? Na ye Nkrani. Na ye Nkrani. Alidu ye Srimni. Alidu ye Srimni. Let's see some examples under profession. So if I want to say Kwame and Kofi are drivers, for example, and I'm being intentional here about the plural subject. So I'm using Kwame and Kofi this time around, and I'll come to why I'm using that shortly. But if I want to say Kwame and Kofi are drivers, for example, I'll say Kwame ne Kofi ye ashenkafo. Kwame ne Kofi ye ashenkafo. Kwame ne Kofi ye ashenkafo. So I use the plural subject here to reinforce what I said in our introductory lesson. So I said that in English, the to be verb form, they sometimes change based on the number of subjects that you pair it with. But then in Twi, this is not the case. So I told you that for Twi, whether you're using a single subject or a plural subject, you still use the same to be verb form. So this is a perfect example to demonstrate that. So we have Kwame ne Kofi, plural subject, ye ashenkafo. So as you can see, the to be verb form does not change even though we have a plural subject. Let's see one more example under profession. So let me describe my profession. So I'm a teacher, and to say that, I'll say mekyea ochretreni. Mekyea ochretreni. Mekyea ochretreni. Okay? We can also use this to be verb form to describe one's age bracket. All right? So whether you are young or you're old, So I can say, for example, mekyea abofra. Mekyea abofra. Mekyea abofra. Okay? And then I can say woyɛ panyi. Woyɛ panyi. Woyɛ panyi. Now let's see some examples under character, behavior, right? So I can say opoku ye nipa bonini. Opoku ye nipa bonini. Opoku ye nipa bonini. All right? And then I can say akusia ye konkonseni. Akusia ye konkonseni. Akusia ye konkonseni. Let's end with some examples under the general outlook of stuff. All right? So if you want to describe the looks or the general outlook of things or people, you can use this to be verb form to do that. All right? So for our first example, we have efe. 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 If you paid attention, you realize I'm not saying eyefe. Okay? I'm not saying eyefe. I said efe. Efe. And this is the case with constructions like these. We tend to reduce them in speech. When we are saying them, we normally will not say eyefe, okay? Or the opposite, eyetime, okay? We will not say eyetime. We sort of do some glide over the, the pronoun and then the verb. So we end up with something like this. efe. Okay, efe. For the opposite, we end up with something like airtime. Okay, airtime, not airtime or ayefe. Before we end today's lesson, I would like us to take a quick look at the negative form of this to be verb. All right. So we negate this to be verb the same way as we do regular verbs that start with this particular letter ye. All right. So you just put before this ye and you are done. All right. So we have ye here, which is to be. The moment you put before that, you have to not be. All right. To not be. So for all the examples that we've given, if you put before the year, you have the negative form of that particular, example. All right. So for example, I can say mekyea akwada, which is, the positive form, mekyea akwada. But in a negative, I say menyea akwada. Menyea akwada. I can say meyere ye kwadwofo in a positive state. Okay, so I have meyere ye kwadwofo, and in a negative, I will say meyere nye kwadwofo. Meyere nye kwadwofo. All right, so this is where we end today's lesson. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so before you leave. I hope to catch you in the next one. It's bye for now.